Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90. Spectrum Radio News. You can SMS at any time during the show. Leave a space, type in your contribution and name, and send it to 7. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum Radio 1 FM 90.
And a very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host Edmond. Spectrum
exemptions. Under what circumstances are some people or businesses and products exempted from paying taxes? Uganda depends largely on local revenues to finance the bulk of its national budget, and most of this revenue is realized through taxation. But reports indicate that Uganda loses up to 690 billion shillings annually through tax exemptions. Although in most cases paying taxes is expected to be an obligation and therefore mandatory, there are reports that some people, businesses and products are exempted or often excused from paying taxes. Ugandans are particularly not happy that investors who are supposed to pay taxes to stimulate the economy are exempted, and so are powerful people whose goods are routinely cleared without any due process. There have also been calls from the public demanding that prize money earned by athletes, sports equipment and essential drugs be exempted, but government and the URA have remained silent about these demands. URA insists they will simply tax whatever is taxable. Many Ugandans are not aware of how tax exemptions are arrived at and who has the powers to grant them. They also do not know who qualifies for such an arrangement and what exactly one needs to do to qualify. So tonight we asked URA officials to explain the questions and contradictions concerning tax exemptions and also educate the business community on how they can benefit. Our guests tonight, Mr. Elinathan Masiko, Supervisor of Tariffs at the Customs Department of the URA, or Uganda Revenue Authority. You're most welcome, Mr. Masiko.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're also joined by Ms. Justin Namusabi, Officer in charge of Tariffs at the Customs Department of the URA. You're most welcome, Ms. Namusabi.
Thank you.
Mr. Masiko, how do you determine tax exemptions?
Yeah, thank you, moderator. Good evening, viewers and listeners. Yes, that is indeed a good question. That government provides several tax exemptions and incentives on imported products for local and foreign investors in critical sectors. And these range from agriculture, health, education, tourism, hotel industry, exports, mining, oil and gas, geothermal exploration. So the exemption facility is operated under the East African Community Customs Management Act, and more specifically the 5th Schedule, Part A and B, which caters for persons and companies based on products that are critical to the varying sectors of society. So other incentives are available in the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, and the Excise Act.
So which are these critical areas?
Yeah, the critical areas, as mentioned earlier, indicate the agriculture sector, the health sector, education, tourism, hotel industry, exports, the mining sector, the oil and gas, geothermal exploration sector. Yes, those are the critical sectors.
Well, but donors complain you give exemptions to people who can pay taxes, and the government loses a lot of money.
Yes, so of course as government, there are priorities that are set by government, more to develop these sectors, and of course we need to look at ourselves in the wider region. These exemptions are available in our neighbors because we are competing with our neighboring countries, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, and all these have different tax regimes that provide the same that we're actually providing as Uganda. So the Ministry of Finance and the government of Uganda looks into this and says, yes, these are the sectors that we feel we should develop and are expected to stimulate the entire economy.
Well, but the World Bank carried out a survey that showed that 90% of the people you exempted from taxes, many are investors, say they would have paid the money anyway. They did not give those incentives.
Yes, unfortunately, I will not be privy to this World Bank report, but yes, indeed, if it stimulates, of course, most of the areas that we've interacted with, people who are investing in these areas have issues with the capital flow, especially when you're starting to invest. And the government felt that by giving these incentives, you would have these sectors develop.
Let's look at the impact. Let's look at the agricultural sector, for instance. You want to, exempt horse.
Yes.
Who's interested in promoting horse anyway? We should be moving to tractors.
Yeah, you're right. But the majority of our people indeed use horse, and government has indeed considered VAT exemption on horse, so that our rural person can actually afford the horse, considering that's the basis of our survival.
Madam Namusabi, let's look at the list in more detail. Agriculture. Do people generally know what they are not supposed to pay taxes on? Is it something you talk about or keep it on your shelves quietly?
Thank you. Good evening, dear listeners. Yes, some of these exemptions are open to all. And that's why we are coming here, because we are trying to sensitize different sectors and different avenues. So we move to different groups depending as and when, like when you have tax education, when you visit different groups, schools, individuals, and those ones who come to us, because we have open avenues, like we have a toll-free number in case somebody wanted information on items which are exempt. So it depends on which sector you're in and what you would like to know.
Yeah,
so
just to supplement on what you said, moderator, is these are official documents that are available when you go to Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation.
The Uganda Gazette.
Yes, the Gazette.
Which is the official government newspaper.
Yes.
Which almost nobody reads.
Apparently, when you go there, those documents are there: the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, the Excise Act, the East African Community Customs Management Act, and also the East African Community Common External Tariff. These are available. They are public documents. Anybody can access them.
So you hide them there. You don't want to publish them in the mass media.
They're actually on the URA website as well.
But you don't publicize them. There are too many websites. You can't be going scouring all websites around.
Yeah, publication as we talk now, I think this is one avenue that we're using as URA to make these known to the public. And as we go through these, you realize that these are the items that are commonly used by the common person.
Let's look at the list again. Agriculture, for instance. You have horse, you have plows, and so. Which of these are most attractive? Which are the ones that people come for most times?
Thank you, moderator. We look at, say, plows. Most of the regions in where we have people using plows, harrows, seeders, planters. This is the modern way, like you rightly mentioned. We're moving from horse. So the next stage that we are seeing people moving into horse, harrows, seeders, planters, translators, manure spreaders, fertilizer distributors. Then we also have agricultural sprayers, which we would call the knapsack sprayers, which we put on the back. We also have those that are mechanized. Then we have fertilizers. Our population has moved into fertilizers. These are exempted from taxes. Then we have refrigerated trucks. As we produce these items en masse, we need to transport them in an environment where they can reach the market. In
flowers, fruits.
Flowers,
fish,
fruits, yes.
Food products.
Food products, yes. Then we have agricultural chemicals, which include fungicides and pesticides. Then we have veterinary chemicals, which are the acaricides. Acaricides are for the, killing ticks, catered for. Then we have agricultural tractors. Agricultural tractors, we are looking at these ones which have the small tires in front and the big tires behind. Those ones are free of tax. Then we have aluminium cans for the dairy industry. As we try to promote milk, the movement from milk, the very rural areas, the collection centers, these are a very important medium. Then we have insulated milk tanks for the dairy industry. As you look at these trucks being on the roads, they have that silver lining, and that one deflects heat, and this milk is transported from up country to the collection centers in the cities. Then we have also the insulated tankers. Then we have imported inputs by persons engaged in horticulture, agriculture, floriculture, aquaculture, say hatching eggs, day-old chicks, semen, fish eggs, fry, fingerling, seeds, greenhouses, materials used in construction of greenhouses, flower cuttings, incubators, hatcheries. All these are free of tax. Then we have other items such as cold rooms, when you cut the meat and you want to store it and keep it at a cold temperature until it is utilized. Then we have poultry parent stock. imported by persons engaged in poultry farming. We realize this is a very important sector for government.
There is layers, basically. Is that what you mean by poultry?
Yeah. Parent stock, the day-old chicks.
The day-old chicks?
Yes.
Right.
Then we have seeds for sowing, all types of seeds. Then we have breeding animals. If you want to improve on the breed of, if you see these South African
exotic
goats,
animals.
yes,
and
the
South African goats give milk.
Yes, those ones, and the Frisian cows. Then we have preparations for cleaning dairy apparatus. These preparations are for cleaning the milk cans and the rest. Then we have other items such as...
Well, I see fish, crustaceans, and mollusks indicated in the list.
Yes.
You're talking about seafoods.
Yes, the fish, crustaceans, which are captured from the waters within the community.
Oh, really? Not
Yes.
not crustaceans, not lobsters from Europe.
Yes,
from the Far East Asia.
Yeah. So when you look at our East African community, then we have countries that are bordering the sea. So this is seafood which is
So you
obtained.
can import seafood from the Indian Ocean, Mombasa, and other places.
Yes, free of tax.
Well,
Then
why do you exempt those? They cost a lot of money in the Chinese and Japanese restaurants. How
Yes.
do you exempt? What's the rationale there?
being one community, it is seen like an item that has been captured, say, from Kabadi.
Right.
So this is one community, and indeed these are considered in that category.
Go on.
Then we have feeds for poultry and livestock. These feeds are very critical. You know, the farmers complain a lot about the price of feeds. So government
But we get most of the ingredients locally. Don't we have enough of them?
apparently feeds are a combination of quite a number of materials, such as premixes. Those premixes are not readily available in the region, so they are made cheaper for the farmers to enjoy and manufacture these feeds. And the finished feeds as well are catered for in this category. Then we have machinery for processing of agricultural or dairy products, the machines that crush the maize, the machines that transform the raw agricultural product in the garden to a finished product. These ones are made free so that we can have value
You don't
addition.
pay VAT on them.
You don't pay VAT, yes.
Go on.
Then we have packing materials for the milling industry. Those who
Posho and grain.
Yes, posho and grain. Then packing material for the dairy industry.
Yes.
Then we have the supply of biodegradable packing materials. Then we have packaging materials for exports. So if you have a market in the diaspora, you can always as well have these materials free of tax. So that's about the agriculture sector.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But what you've given me a list here which I'm looking at. What other areas do you exempt? If you wanted to go outside of this list, how do you do it?
In the agriculture sector or any other sector?
Well, broadly, if you want to exempt someone and they're not on this list, what do you do? If I might be a good man who contributes to the campaigns and I want an exemption to get paid back, I contributed and the government is in power, what do I do?
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you very much, moderator, for that question. Yes. When we are granting exemptions, we do grant them based on the laws. As you can see, we are quoting specific laws. The Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, we have the East African Community Customs Management Act, we have the East African Community Common External Tariff. So these are parent laws that we base these exemptions on. So if you are a very powerful person, you must indeed fall within these, the tenets of
Well, but the Commissioner General also has the powers. She might decide she can grant me an exemption without referring to a specific clause.
No, apparently even the Commissioner General has to comply to these laws.
You sure her hands are tied?
Absolutely.
Does not matter how much I helped a certain candidate?
No, it must be according to the law.
Well, listeners, this is Spectrum Radio, and tonight, understanding the rationale for tax exemptions and under what circumstances are some people or businesses and products exempted from paying taxes. Our guests are both from the Uganda Revenue Authority. Mr. Elinathan Masiko, Supervisor of Tariffs at the Customs Department, and Ms. Justin Namusabi, Officer in charge of Tariffs at the same Customs Department. You will be able to call him and contribute to this discussion. Would you like to talk to us about some of the other products? He's talking to us about agriculture. Talk to us about another section that is exempt, tax exempt.
Yes, thank you, moderator. We have other sectors like the education
Yes.
and scholastic materials, where we have textbooks which are used there, like biology, physics, chemistry, and any other for education purposes are free of taxes. We have computers which use you know we are very well moving to the ICT. So for
So
schools,
if you're bringing computers, you don't pay import duty, you don't pay VAT.
you don't pay VAT, but remember we have a ban on importation of used computers.
Old computers. Those ones,
So
we don't
it
want
has
them
to be
anymore.
New.
It has to be brand new.
Yes.
Yes.
Then we have equipment we use for the education sector, like in the laboratories. We have the microscopes, glassware, you have the pipettes, and all those equipment used the Bunsen burner,
Yes.
name it, you use in the labs. Then we have computer software, it's free of taxes. Desktops, top printers. We have examination materials like the questions and all that used in that. Then sometimes we have chemicals which they use. Then we have examination, computer parts and accessories. We also have paper used in the manufacture of textbooks and exercise books.
Yes.
Are also exempted.
But paper for making newspapers, you don't exempt that.
No, this is specifically applicable to the education sector.
No, but newspapers also print pullouts that they give to schools. Why don't you exempt them? Make it easier for them to do that.
But you say that is a different. This one has to be by an education institution, somebody who is in that sector.
Talk to us about another category. I mean, of course, some people will ask questions about the choice of this list, but let's talk about another sector that is exempt.
Yes, we also have, we are moving into value addition, and that's where we move into the industry or manufacturing sector,
yes,
where you have to add value on items. Most industries, they import machinery. Machinery for use in different industries is free of tax. Then we have certain specific raw materials used in the sectors like sanitary towels. If you're importing those raw materials, people who are making transformers, we have people who are manufacturing aluminium cans and equipment for use in dairy and agriculture, like somebody who is manufacturing hose, plows, their inputs are exempt for that. Then we have industrial spare parts. These machines, as they are working, they wear out. If you have a grinding machine, you import the
nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts and other parts which do wear out. Then we have splints for use in the manufacture of matches and inputs for use in the manufacture of agricultural equipment.
And how do you arrive at this list?
It is governed by the law. So the law caters for that. Different laws like East African Community Customs Management Act caters for inputs for use in that. You find some are catered for under the VAT Act and the Income Tax Act.
And how old is this list?
The list?
Yes.
Like for the EAC, East African Customs Management Act has been into force since 2005 to date.
7 years old now.
Yeah, when we came into force, but the other ones have been there
much longer.
Much longer.
How often is it revised?
Every year.
Every year?
Yes.
Every financial year. Yes.
Every financial year. Yes. So what are the new things in this for this year specifically?
Yeah, this year what they added in, like for the, say, people who are engaged in agriculture, they have included equipment, gear used in bee rearing.
Rearing apiculture.
Yes.
So you find that is something new which has been added in.
Well, what kind of equipment would you need for apiculture, rearing of bees?
Yeah, there are several equipments. There is an area which is very delicate. So to promote it and that sector, it needs to be helped so that people can be able.
Yeah, to supplement on what you said, actually, you have those when you're getting the honey from the beehive, you have to cover yourself, the face. So you have that netting material, the covering that you have on your head, that swimsuit that looks like you're
handling an Ebola patient.
Yes, yes. So those items, then the containers for carrying the bee, what to you extract from the beehive. So all that is actually exempted. And being a new area, we are hoping to really see this come, that technology being transferred from the developed country to us, because it's be exempted.
And how do you measure success?
Success is actually measured. For example, ever since this law came into place, we've seen quite an enormous increase in the amount of these imports. People coming to seek exemptions for beekeeping machinery.
So a lot of people are going into bees.
They are going into bees, yes.
And of course, honey is the only food under the sun that does not spoil. You could keep it for 1,000 years, it will still be honey.
Is it?
And most times it's the same everywhere you go. Talk to us about another sector.
Yeah. Thank you, moderator. There's the other sector that government has seen as important is the tourism sector. And we are looking at motor vehicles designed for the tourism sector.
Let's talk about that specifically. We see a lot of Toyota Land Cruisers doing tourism, carrying tourists, painted in green, some of them. But there are other vehicles, tour and travel companies that import these vehicles or they buy them off the market. Can they come for a refund if they're using them for tourist purposes?
Okay, we look at this at importation. If somebody presents himself with these items and he intends to benefit from the exemption, there are certain conditions these vehicles meet. It must have a color that blends with the environment.
It has to be colored green.
Yes, colored green, so that as the movies do the park does not scare the animals. There can be, a peaceful view without interfering with the animals. Then it must have a compartment where you can store the luggage for the passengers. It must also be four-wheel drive, and it must have an open area where the tourists can stand and view the game. Then it also must be imported by a tour company, a registered tour company, often by the Tour Operators Association as well as the Ministry of Tourism. Yeah, so that is, it must conform to that. So some people don't want to conform to those procedures, so they prefer to pay the taxes. He wants it white because his preference for his clients may be on another route, not necessarily with the animals, so he chooses to pay the taxes.
So these are only for custom-made vehicles?
Custom-made vehicles.
If I imported my vehicle, a Prado, and then I decide all of a sudden I want to turn it into a tourist car, and it actually carries tourists, you won't give me a refund?
Yes, it must conform to those guidelines.
Well, supposing I bring it in a different color, different format, I pay taxes, and I decide I really want to conform, and I actually conform, would I get the tax refund?
No, it would have already crossed into the field, and it's already in operation. So we can only consider those that are yet to be cleared out of customs.
Why the rigidity? Why would you be so rigid?
Well, when a vehicle leaves the customs area, it may undergo several modifications. You may find they have changed whatever the parts, the engines, etc., etc.
All right. Well, this is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight, understanding the rationale for tax exemptions. Under what circumstances are some people or businesses and products exempted from paying taxes? We'll be back after this break. To stay with us.
Everybody talking like this in the car, this in the bar. Doesn't even matter wherever you are. With overload, what you really don't know is you can let a bit more.
A little longer. Send text to all your loved ones and love a little longer.
Get 15% extra airtime guaranteed every time you load with MTN. Simply dial *145#. Get talking all day up to midnight with MTN Overload.
MTN, everywhere you go. Bank of Uganda informs the public that it has issued a 1,000 shillings commemorative coin. This is to celebrate the 50th independence anniversary of the Republic of Uganda. The coin is legal tender effective 9th October 2012. It will be used for day-to-day cash transactions. It is round and bears two colors, gold in the center and silver in the outer ring. The front of the coin depicts the crested crane as the main attraction. The back depicts the national coat of arms as the main feature. The coin will reach the public through the banking system and normal cash transactions. There is therefore no arrangement for exchange at Bank of Uganda offices in Kampala or upcountry branches and currency centers. Bank of Uganda is proud of its contribution to Uganda's economic success through prudent monetary policy management over the years. We join the rest of Uganda in celebrating the 50th independence anniversary with the commemorative coin as a lasting reminder of this historic event. Management, Bank of Uganda.
What makes Uganda special? Is it our people, our diverse cultures, or our renowned woman? Perhaps it's the unique beauty, the undulating hills, clear fresh waters, snow-capped peaks, tropical forests, abundant wildlife, or maybe it's the Great Nile traversing our land. The truth is, many things make Uganda special. So as we celebrate 50 special years, Nile Special, Uganda's special beer, invites you to toast to our great land, because one thing is certain, Nile Special is enjoyed throughout Uganda. Nile Special, the rich, rewarding taste from the source. You've earned it.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight, understanding the rationale for tax exemptions. Under what circumstances are some people or businesses and products exempted from paying taxes? Our guests tonight, Mr. Elinathan Masiko, supervisor of tariffs at the Customs Department of the URA, Ms. Justin Namusabi, officer in charge of tariffs at the Customs Department of the same Uganda Revenue Authority. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion or send text message. Text your question to 7197. That is Spectrum message, question or comment. Send it to 7197. We'll have it responded to tonight. Let's talk a little bit more about this tourism sector. Hotels. You spoke about motor vehicles. They have been modified before they cross the border. Otherwise, it's too late. What else do we have?
Yeah, thank you, moderator. Government still saw the importance of hotel equipment. As we hosted the CHOGM, there was need to really improve on the status of our hotels. So the items under consideration here are washing machines, kitchenware, which include the kettles, plates, cups, serving dishes. Then we have another item, the cookers, fridges and freezers, air conditioning systems. We also have the cutlery, televisions, carpets, furniture such as beds, mattresses, chairs, tables, etc. We have linen, which is hotel linen, that includes towels, bed sheets, tablecloths and napkins. Then we also have curtains. We also have gymnasium equipment, and this is subject to the number of rooms. If you have a hotel of 20 rooms, we don't expect you to import 100 TVs.
Well, I might want to have 3 TVs in one room, knowing I have another idea. How do you check that? I could tell you I need 3 rooms. I need a TV set in one of the bathrooms, another one in the... How do you check that?
Yes, that's a good question. Yeah, we've had such scenarios, and what we usually do is to visit these...
you guys are very innovative people. They would look for a loophole, and you find this in Luom Street eventually.
Correct, yeah. But what we do at importation, we make sure all these television sets are engraved, marked with the hotel logo and the sign, and these are not necessarily, the engravement must be deep into the item.
They have to do it before they bring them
before they actually cross the border into the country.
And if they bring them, if they bought them from Luom Street and they want to take them to their hotel, you can't refund their money?
Yes, they must be in a customs controlled area for such a transaction to take place.
If they buy them locally, no refund?
You can buy locally in a customs bonded warehouse. Then
if I went to Luom Street and bought it and I want to take it to
the hotel,
can I get a refund?
No, you would not.
It's too late.
It's too late.
Madam, give us some more items that really you justify as exam. You think are justifiable?
Yeah, thank you, moderator. The other key sector is the health sector.
Yes.
Here we have equipment specially designed for medical or dental use. You look at, if you visit a dentist, you have a dentist chair.
Equipment for detoothers.
Yes.
Go on.
Then we have human and animal drugs. Then we have items which are imported by licensed hospitals, like blood freezers, kitchen equipment, kitchenware, laundry equipment, mattresses and linen, bedside screens. You remember when they are working on certain videos, those green, pink. Then we have air conditioners. We have uniforms for use by the hospital staff, water heating equipment, trolleys and stretchers, furniture inclusive, but this one has to be on condition that you get a recommendation from the Director of Medical Services.
So if I want air conditioners from my hospital, for a hospital that I own?
You must be a registered hospital and you must be recommended by the Director of Medical Services, that is Minister of Health. We know that you're a registered practitioner and the hotel does exist.
The hospital?
The hospital does exist.
So what do the traditional doctors, I'm using the word doctor in quotes, what do the traditional healers do? They might also need air conditioners for their treatment places.
Maybe they need to reorganize, and they are registered by the authority which governs that area.
All right.
Also in that sector we have other, like the oral contraceptives. We have the male and female condoms, packaging materials used in the manufacture of medicaments. We have diapers for use by the sick people, those ones used in the hospitals, somebody who is bedridden, who cannot help himself. Then we have urine bags. We have hygiene bags used in hospitals, diagnostic reagents and equipment imported by people who are carrying out diagnostic, that's clinics, hospitals, and also they must be recommended by the Director of Medical Services. So we have those equipment like checking the CD4, CD8 count. Then we have equipment for monitoring HIV patients, reagents for detecting tuberculosis, and any other medical related. And then we have
X-ray cameras.
We have autoclave. They have items they use in diagnostic, different equipment. So long as it's imported by hospital and the diagnostic clinic, it will be. Then also in that sector we have mosquito nets. If you import mosquito nets, they are free of taxes and material for the manufacture of mosquito nets. Wheelchairs, which are used by people with disabilities. Then we have surgical and examination gloves. We also have insecticides for prevention of mosquitoes. The whole essence being that you're interested in the prevention of malaria.
All right. Let's go a little lower. Roads. Take us through that list.
Yeah, thank you, Moderate. Yes, for the roads, we do have, of course, roads are very important to the economy, and government has seen the area of plant and machinery equipment for road construction. These include graders, the compactors, the backhoe tractors, the bulldozers, the wheel loaders, road marking machinery. Then we also have the transport sector where we have...
and this does not matter, you don't need to qualify because they're not transfer. You can't put a bulldozer and use it for something else.
Yes, the bulldozer is specifically for road construction, so those ones indeed are not
qualified.
Yes.
All right. Transport,
we have the garbage trucks. We have those garbage trucks like the Namusabi joint venture, those which are specially shaped to designed to carry refuse or garbage. Then we have specialized vehicles that are primarily designed to perform non-transport functions. These include breakdowns, mobile workshops, concrete mixers, cranes. If you've gone to the ICDs, the cranes that carry a container from one point to another. Then we have drilling rigs.
Oil drilling rigs?
Yeah, oil drilling rigs and water drilling. Yeah, you have these trucks. Yes, these trucks which carry the drills on their back
to make boreholes
in the rural areas.
Okay.
Then we have life-saving jackets. If you are on the water, unfortunately the boat gets an issue, then you jump into the water and you are saved. Helmets. This is a song that I think has been sung, and they are very, very critical. If you don't put it on, they're
but they're tax-free, but we don't see many of them on our streets. Our beloved borders, they normally carry one.
Well, I think there are other issues related to hygiene and whatever, so perhaps...
Well, at least they should have them.
Yeah, they should have them because it actually saves lives. So if the powers that be could enforce that...
so they have no reason for not enforcing it?
If they should, because government indeed removed the taxes.
Right.
Then we have ships and other vessels, including sport fishing vessels as indicated in the East African Community Customs Management Act. Then we have tractor heads known as prime movers. Yeah, those ones, government removed import duty for 1 year. This is for one financial year.
Right.
Then for the hearses, government also removed the hearses for the funeral services.
Right.
Then for the ambulances, government also removed import duty and VAT to enable movement of patients.
All right, let's go on. The energy
sector, yes. We have now the energy sector. We have electric transformers. Where tax is exempted. We have electric motors and generators. We have energy saving bulbs, the compact fluorescent light, which has one end cap. I mean one end cap. A fluorescent tube has two end caps.
Right. The straight ones, yes. Those ones are not exempt.
Those are not exempt.
Why?
Government is focusing mainly on the smaller ones, which have been proved to save a lot of energy.
Right.
Then we have cooking gas, the LPG, liquid petroleum gas. Then we have heavy fuel oil for thermal power generation. We had a power crisis and the government felt that it was important. Then we have solar panels that picks the sun rays.
Those have been exempt for a long time.
Yes, for a long time. Then we have deep cycle batteries. Deep cycle batteries are those that dispense energy in small quantities over a long period of time. Unlike automatic batteries that dispense a lot of energy in the beginning and simply leave the engine after it is started.
Right.
Then we have solar refrigerators. Those are refrigerators using solar. Then we have solar cookers. We have light bulbs made.
Do we have many of these solar cookers? They should be on high demand. We don't seem to see them anywhere.
Apparently, this technology has been there. We see it in the newspapers. When we went to Lugogo the other day for the show, they are quite in plenty.
All right.
Then we have light bulbs made from light-emitting diodes. These ones have also been proved to save a lot of energy. Then we have gas cylinders. These are used repetitively. When the gas runs, you go back and pick more gas. Then we have solar water heaters. Yes, this saves a lot of energy in heating costs. Yes, then I would ask now my colleague to take on.
Let's talk about the oil sector, petroleum and the mining industries.
Thank you, moderator. This is generally a new area, and to promote it, machinery for use in mining and spare parts for those people who are engaged in mining is exempt. Then we have machinery and equipment for direct use in oil, gas, and geothermal exploration is also exempt. So for those people who are engaged in that, like people who are in mining the Albertine area, we have several companies which are there. Then we also have companies which are doing mining, like Vermiculite. We have gold.
Vermiculite. Gold in Karamoja.
Yeah. So long as you're engaged there and you have a mining license, then you are able to enjoy from that sector.
How would you exempt gold mining? They make a lot of money from gold.
But you see, we are looking for foreign exchange. So if we are to export and earn some money, we need to promote some of these sectors for the government to be able.
Let's look at some more goods.
Yes, the other areas we have goods grown or manufactured in the community. If you are to export, they will be free of duty.
And if you are to import them?
Manufactured from, if you are importing, it is only import duty which will be exempt.
Yes.
They are free of duty, but VAT and the other taxes will be applicable. Then we have selected raw materials and industry inputs for use in the manufacture of different goods.
At the level number one, blue band you don't pay because margarine, most of it comes
provided
from Kenya.
It's coming from Kenya, and you have that certificate of origin indicating that it was manufactured in Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, or Burundi. It will not attract import duty.
All right. Is that a high tax normally?
No, not really. Then we have other selected raw materials you use in the manufacture, like people who are differently engaged, like these ones who make mineral water, people who are manufacturing different articles. Some selected raw materials are free of import duty.
What raw material do you need in the manufacture of mineral water?
In the mineral water bottle, there are those pellets they use, the granules they use for the plastic granules we use for manufacturing the water.
The bottle.
Yes.
Then there are also some items which they import, like carbon. Like you know that water has to be filtrated and cleaned. It's going through a different cleaning process. So some of the inputs used in that process is free of import duty.
Go on.
Then we have personal effects for somebody who has lived outside Uganda for a period of more than 12 months.
Yes.
Or people who are changing residence, say people who have lived foreign, they are coming to stay here. You expect them to come in with their...
You might have several containers of cement. He wants to build a house.
No, it has to be something you've been using.
Personal effect, something you've been using.
Yeah. Then we
3
have...
vehicles.
No, it's 1 vehicle. So we have goods imported if you say you traveled out of Uganda
and you're coming back with it
after 24 hours, you are entitled to goods worth $500.
Say that again.
If you've traveled by air outside Uganda for a period exceeding 1 day, you have a duty-free allowance of $500, provided you don't bring items, say pieces, like you bought several pieces of vitenge which you're bringing in to sell. But if you say you moved out and you came out with a TV and it's equivalent of $500, it will be tax-free.
And you say it's not by road?
No, it has to be. This one is specifically to air travelers.
So I can't live at Busia and bring in a TV set every 2 days?
Because it is applicable to people who are using air.
Go on.
Then we have relief goods imported for emergency use, like in areas which has been hit by the disaster, say imported by the Red Cross it will be exempt. Then we have pallets, these ones which they put in containers when you're carrying for stuffing goods.
They wouldn't
because they are usually for repetitive use.
Right.
They are exempt. Then we have supply of goods and services to contractors and subcontractors of hydroelectric power. People like who have been the Bujagali. Then we have the other one in the west, Mpanga.
Right, the smaller ones.
The smaller ones, so long as it's hydropower, is exempt from VAT.
Supply of goods and services. What do you mean by services? Consultants, technicians, and things like that. What do you mean?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, services would mean if you have a consultant who is doing the mapping, they
won't pay tax.
They won't pay the VAT on the supply, because when you do consult me on a certain architectural drawing for the certain part of the dam, when I bill you as the main contractor, you should not. I should not bill you including VAT.
Go on. Well, let's hear from the listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight, understanding the rationale for tax exemptions. Under what circumstances are some people or businesses and products exempted from paying taxes? Our number 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-226-1390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Salt. Let's continue with the list. Salt.
Yes, salt is exempt from VAT.
Why do you exempt it? We should be supporting our Katwe salt from Katwe, Lake Katwe.
But even if it's locally mined or picked from there, to make it has to benefit because you want to make it available to the population. So when you remove that, it becomes affordable to the final user.
Okay. Spectrum, hello. Good evening, your name? Mr. Zua, yes?
I've read that there are some person involved from the bushes. She said that some of the things that are being accepted. But some on the market, they always high price normally. What does it say about that?
Can you say that again? We didn't hear you at the start, Mr. Zua. Can you say? Yes?
Some goods, like the bomb.
I think it spoke about pumps, bombers. I don't know if that's the one. Spectrum, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, your name?
Yes, this is Olupot.
Mr. Olupot?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Thank you for the program. My question is about the research, the equipment imported in public academic institutions, and these are basically for training students and also non-profit research. URA access this equipment once they arrive in Entebbe, and it takes a lot of money which is not provided for in the projects that the researchers have innovated themselves. Is that proper, and what can be done to avert such? Thank you.
All right, Spectrum, hello? Hello?
Hello, this is Martin.
Yes, Martin.
Yeah, the question I'm asking the two guests is, which you in Uganda exempt the president from paying income tax on his worldwide income? And lastly, NGOs are exempted from paying income tax, but they are forced to make returns. What's the logic in that?
Okay, let's get back to the studios. Misael, okay? Let's hear another listener. Spectrum, hello? Okay. Mr. Elinathan, talk to us about.
Yeah, thank you very much. The first caller indicated the bombers. Yes, the bombers or the knapsack sprayers are indeed exempted from VAT, and they are free of import duty. The question about why they are expensive in the lower part of the market is an issue that really we cannot enumerate. But in as far as customs is concerned, these are items where we do not collect any tax other than income tax. Because this person who brings in a container of bombers is expected to make a profit. So we collect only the 6%, but the import duty and VAT are not taxable. So why they are not very cheap in the market, perhaps is about the costing. Yes, then Mr. Olport mentioned something about research equipment. For training, equipment is often taxed at the airport. We have what we call the Florence Agreement. This Florence Agreement is mentioned in the East African Community Customs Management Act. So under this agreement, Florence was signed in France. Yes, was signed in France, and that has a list of items. So the list of items under this specifically to education institutions. So in that, those ones would be exempted if they are listed. And in the event that they are brought in by a person who's not necessarily an education institution, because you'll find that most of these have representatives, and they are not necessarily imported directly by the education institutions. We have often advised them to change ownership in the customs bonded warehouse, so that the recipient, the person, the final consumer of this product,
the academic institution can change ownership and enjoy the exemption, if again it is listed in the Florence Agreement. Then which law exempts the president from taxes or income tax? We're looking at the customs perspective. Yes, in the East African Community Customs Management Act, we have an issue on goods imported for the president. So those ones are actually explicitly mentioned in the act as exempted. NGOs returning, filing returns, yes, that is an income tax aspect, but as well we can comment saying that NGOs, some of them are actually for-profit NGOs, some are non-profit NGOs. Which are the profit NGOs?
We would be looking at, there are those which actually do engage in commercial activity to promote, say, rural poor, but in the process they actually earn some income. But that is a question that we could do, defer to our colleagues in domestic taxes. But yes, indeed, they need to file, and if at all they file, they could be near returns and not necessarily returns that are accompanied with monies.
How about churches? You used to have exemptions for churches. You removed them. You don't want the gospel to be spread nicely.
Well, churches indeed always receive items that...
churches and other religious institutions. Mosques and so on.
Yeah, churches and religious institutions are indeed exempted from income tax. That's withholding tax. But they often import items like used clothes, and which they give out free, which is really good, and the poor will enjoy. But you'll find that
it could be abused. It
could be abused. It could be sold. They can as well, keep the market. If many of these used clothes come in, then you'll not have the night hills manufacturing anything.
Well, night hill, how much does it give us? Even bed sheets, we have to import them. School uniform, in the past we used to have them from night hill. Nowadays we're not sure what they do.
Actually, it would be worse if you allowed these to come in tax free.
They would kill night hill off.
They would kill night hill off, and you would not find
whatever capacity operating, whether 5 or 10%.
Correct.
But these sports people, they go out there, they get their medals, and they come home with some prize money, and you tax it. Why do you do that?
Yes, prize money, yes, that's an income tax issue. Prize money, yes, if we look at the Income Tax Act, there is something explicitly mentioned about income that is earned. So it is indeed in the Act. Unless it is amended, then URA has it has an obligation to indeed collect from such items.
Consultancy fees generally?
Consultancy fees, you'll find in the VAT Act that there are certain consultancy fees that are particularly exempted, which could incorporate items in the road sector, health sector, education sector. Those would be explicitly mentioned in the law.
All right. Let's continue on some of the other items. You mentioned salt. You spoke about diapers. Madam, talk to us about those. Goods imported by disabled, the blind, and physically handicapped persons. I have 10 trailers, so I'm going to find a friend who's physically handicapped, so they can't be exempted. Talk to us about that. How do I go about it?
Thank you, moderator. Yeah, in this area for goods imported by people who are disabled or physically handicapped
or blind,
it has to be, say, if a blind person imported
a braille machine,
a computer which is specially designed for their use, and they are allowed to import one vehicle specially designed for the disabled. There are people
certainly
who
not
don't have
for the blind.
For the blind, no, but it's
for the disabled, which they can use.
Like somebody who doesn't have the legs uses the hands. Somebody may not have the hands but uses the legs. So it has to be specially designed by the disabled. Wow. And the person benefiting must be disabled, not to anyone. So you are not at leeway to import any item or 10 containers. It has to be something which is specifically for the blind, so promoting their education and well-being. Then we have specific goods imported by aircraft operators.
Yes.
They have like the aircraft stores, the aircrafts themselves, spares, and all those items they use is exempt.
Yes.
Then we also have security equipment. You know, this is an area which is very sensitive. So there are items which have been exempted in that area, like the metal detectors, walk-through metal detectors. We have the CCTV cameras. We have the bomb detectors and the undercarriage mirrors. So those ones are exempted.
Security equipment.
Security equipment.
How much money do we make on tear gas imports? It's a security thing as well.
That's not an equipment here. It is specific to equipment.
Do we pay taxes on our tear gas when we bring it in?
Yes.
Yes.
And so as security.
Well, apparently, this, as you asked earlier, what was the recent exemption that we had? Goods imported by the police.
Recently,
yes,
goods imported by police
are exempted from taxes.
They don't pay taxes on those, so we can get good quantities in.
Correct.
Go on. Battery operated vehicles?
Yeah, battery operated vehicles for use in hospitals, hotels and airports. Then we also have inputs for use in the manufacture of diagnostic kits. You know, we have people who are making malaria kits here.
Right.
So their inputs they use in those manufacture is exempt. Then we have milk and milk treated in a way to preserve it.
Right.
There are some of those chemicals. Then we have motorcycle ambulances.
At least the aircraft engines.
Yes.
Brought an aircraft engine, you won't pay taxes on that.
Yes, the VAT.
Well, our time is up actually, but let's hear one thing more before we go. The problems at the border. A computer went off and you couldn't clear trailers. Why don't you just buy another computer and work continues at the URA?
Thank you very much, moderator. Yes, we had a slight glitch in our IT system, but fortunately we had a fallback position, which was a manual process. So they are actually not at a standstill. We still had some clearances, but I'm glad to report that this system is back and we are working normally. And as you know, we actually operate on these border stations 24 hours.
All through the night.
All through the night. So
you have enough lights.
Yeah, we'll be able
and allowances for people working at night.
Absolutely. We do work in shifts and we want to ensure that trade moves smoothly.
Well, we have to go. Thank you very much, dear guest, Mr. Elinathan Masiko, Supervisor of Tariffs at the Customs Department of the URA. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight. Miss Justin Namusabi, Officer in charge of Tariffs at the Customs Department at the same URA. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. Kizito Spectrum. We'll be back tomorrow. Up next is the news in English.
65 million shillings. Oh, I would take my girlfriend, my wife, on a dream holiday to Zanzibar.
Sweetheart, you better